Hello, once again. I'm Jace, and I discovered Stray Kids 3 or 4 days ago and decided I was going to share my discovery of their music videos, and them as a group with other people who would appreciate it, because I don't really have I don't have friends. I don't have friends who are interested in all of the same styles of music as I am. I have listened to a bunch of their music and watched some of their music videos. I'll go through the ones that I've already seen first, and then I'll get to new stuff, which is exciting. Okay, so no particular order for these. Excuse the cat. They're just pretty much just the next ones that I've already seen. Autumn is very much happening in the Southern Hemisphere, and it's... Ugh. Okay, so without further ado, starting today with S-Class. I don't know if that was actually recorded in the studio. I assume so, because you can hear the air movement. Very good, very on tune. I don't understand how people can whistle off tune, but they do. It's a thing. So, nice whistling on tune. Oh, all the questions. What city is that? It looks like... Literally, first line. Okay, so one of the reasons that I found Stray Kids in the first place was Hyungjin. I had a bunch of the Like Jenny dance stuff coming up on my social media, and I saw a little clip of him doing it kind of like half-heartedly at a sound check, and the way that man moves is really, really, really interesting. Hyungjin's movements are very, very fluid. He connects everything together very, very smoothly. The way he uses all of his body and all of his movement, it's really, really interesting. So I went and I watched that video a couple of times, kind of being like, And then my algorithm was like, you have unlocked Stray Kids. Have all of the Stray Kids content. And now I'm here. Just the smoothness of the movement, the way it's all connected. Just because you could do those steps being much more disconnected, but he does it so well. The word painting, kick it with the spin kick. So I'm assuming Serpent Road is a road in Seoul. The very lyrical, melodic kind of pre-chorus section with Seungmin, whose voice is amazing. All of their voices are amazing, but his is particularly good. The harmonies and things in there. Felix's voice is gritty. Seungmin's voice is very clean and very smooth, and the contrast of the higher, smoother voice with the deeper, more gravelly voice is used to great effect. I love the way that they play with perception and camera angles in all of their videos. I think there are better ones coming up where they play with perspective and camera angles, and the camera shifts with the movements of the dancers. That is a really cool transition. And there's some really interesting stuff with the way that... So that transition comes in with a bit of a record scratch, and it goes very, very old school hip hop very fast. So from the velveteen tracksuits, the style of the rest of the clothes, the alley, the BMX bikes, the skateboards, but also the really slow hip hop drum beat in the background and the record scratch noises, and then I mean the boom boxes and stuff in the visuals, but they match the change in style of the visuals and the audio from the very modern Soul City style to this really old hip hop. The way they match it and change it together in both the visuals and the audio at this point is really good. I also love that little diorama type thing for that scene change. Again, changing perspective. Okay. I get that. I completely get that, being completely lost in your own world. Headphones on, I am not listening to anything else that's going on around me. Bangchan's voice. His vocals are so clean. Even when you just hear him singing unaccompanied, a cappella, he is so precise with his sound, his pitching, everything. Also, very nice falsetto there. Dad is driving, of course. Cool transitions again. Some more. That step is so cool, specifically the change of camera perspective with it. I know I say that a lot, but I mean, they do it so well. I really want to see a dance rehearsal or a dance practice, or even a show, a live stage version of that, to try and see how they play that step without the movement of the camera angle, the hand movement, and then the connection throughout the bodies of all three dancers. The flow of that is really cool. Also, that little smile. Where is it? Just before there's just this little smile, and it's so content and happy and just peaceful. It's cute. Also, it makes you want to smile back. So often with these guys, their happiness, I suppose, their smiles are infectious. It's really nice. Cool effect there. Okay, those lyrics are very applicable. I wish I could watch the lyrics and what's going on at the same time. Audience immersion, very much a thing. They are very good at commanding focus and attention. Okay, so subverting expectations again. They go into the pre-chorus and you expect the chorus to come up and then it doesn't. And they have essentially a dance break with a change in the beat. Not a pre-chorus, just the start. Weird alien squid thing. It reminds me of the Watcher in the Water from the Lord of the Rings. But with star sunglasses. Flashy indeed. Yeah. Awesome. Thoughts on S-Class after having watched the whole thing? I like it. It's not my favorite of their songs or their music videos, but everything they do is great. So I think I've pretty much said all that I can say. Though this might be a good time to talk about the vocal range thing. Felix's voice is quite unique in K-pop. Having a K-pop idol with a deep voice, not very common in the industry. In a vocal group, the difference in pitch, the difference in range between the top of your top line and the bottom of your bottom line gives you so much room to play with. So the higher your sopranos or whatever top line you're using are, the more space you have to play up on top. The lower your bass line is, the more space you have to play below. And for the production team, Sriracha, all of them, and the production team, songwriters, everybody, it must be really nice to have that variety, especially with the contrasting voices. So having the higher, smoother voices, then contrasted by Felix's voice, works really well with the way they use contrast in other aspects of their music. So the really punchy beat heavy sections, that bracket sections that are much more melodious, much more lyrical, with lots of harmonies and all of that. It's a really, really useful thing to have. Oh, Maniac is the one that's got such good synchronization between change in camera angles and perspective shifts and the dance steps. Okay, audio on, visuals on. Let us go. I think the drawn in animation in this is lots of fun. Also, the outfits are very interesting. I know that's kind of the point, but Hans, it's almost a Busby, the fluffy faux hat. Makes me giggle just about every time I see it. Parkour! Let's go. So that was giving me Daphne from Scooby-Doo, the green and purple. Let's go. Blue suits him. Aprons again, but you see how those are much shorter. They come to just above the knee instead of coming down below the knee, so wearing them forwards isn't such a problem. And they're also not dancing in them as much as in God's Menu, so they're not as much of a problem. Also the shifts between day and night and the different clothing things. I've just seen if you want breakfast in bed, sleep in the kitchen. Interesting that they've got the signs meant to be read from inside instead of from outside, because usually when you're in a restaurant or something and they have signs on the windows, they're meant to be read from outside, so they're backwards when you're inside, but they're not here. All of the really bright colors. The drill, the drill, the drill. Again, I'm going to be that person. They talk about having a screw loose, I think, in the next couple of lines. And I know that that's supposed to be like a screwdriver, but it's a drill. It's not a screwdriver. If you try and fix a screw with a drill, yeah, that's not going to go well. I do really like the way that they use the movement of the drill bit. They swing the image around using the rotation from the drill, which I think is really clever. Interesting. The green stripes. They look good. There we go. There's the camera shift with the steps. Ping, ping. Gets me every time. Ordinary store. I like that. Who wants to be normal anyway? Not me. Okay. Another interesting little trivia thing. The robots, the traffic lights in the background there. Red, amber, yellow, and blue. I know that's a thing in Japan because the Japanese culture didn't distinguish between blue and green until they came across Westerners, and then they added that distinction into the language to better be able to communicate with other people, other cultures, other groups. So their traffic lights are red, yellow, and blue instead of red, yellow, and green. Japan, I know, what's the best way of putting it? Japan invaded and was in charge of a lot of Korea for a while, so I wonder if it's a Korean thing as well because it's carried over from Japanese, or even just because of the similarity of the languages and cultures coming from a similar developmental route, however many hundreds and thousands of years ago. Just an interesting little bit. Also, whoever does their costuming, you are amazing. That little pearl string, beaded string, spiderweb thing that Hyungjin is wearing moves so well, especially with the spins and stuff that he's doing. And I only just noticed now that it matches his shoes. So cool, very nice. Yeah, spins so well. That's clever. That is clever, the biting and cutting of the string. Even though the string doesn't exist. Okay, and it matches with The seam of a torn doll. Interesting. Okay, so sewing, like fixing a seam. Clever. Very clever. That transition is cool. I have no idea how they did it. I'm not a video editing person. I'm sure it's really not that difficult, but it looks cool. It's really clever. I want to know how they did it. The hand there. The brain is very weird. So that gives me Sound of Music vibes. So long, farewell. So long, farewell. Auf Wiedersehen, good night. The dum, where the kids are spinning down the line and getting kicked off to bed. I get those vibes there, with just shoving them all out of the line. People think it's their right. I get that. The lyrics in their music are so applicable, and you can see where it's coming from as well. I agree with so much of what they talk about. Okay, back again. That half skirt is really interesting. I've seen it in a couple of other things. Pretty package. Cool boots. The drill again. What to say about that? Beyond what I've already said? Not much. Very cleverly done. Next up, we'll see what we've got. Not sure what's next on the list, but yeah. I'm going to say goodbye for now. I'm expecting a person to arrive shortly, so I gotta go. Love ya. Cheers. Bye.